Thank you, thank you. Everyone come in. Good presentation now. Okay, I think most of us are here again after a small break. I will present you something about our trip to the Marshall Islands this year in February, V73WW, and yeah, some nice pictures, some stories from the trip. For those who don't know me, I'm Sven, DJ4MX, the team member of V73WW, also the co-lead, QSL manager as well. Have been to Guyana, 8 Radio 7 X-ray before with most of those teammates, and in February we were to the Marshall Islands, V73WW. So who were we? A team of 6 people with a very low average age, only 28 years. There was one guy who increased the average age a bit. So when we were there, it was February 12th to February 24th. We were 12 days there on the island, and most of the time also QRV. 160 to 6 meters. Unfortunately, no license for 60 meters, not possible there on the Marshall Islands. But yeah, every other band we try to be as active as possible. Where exactly on the Marshall Islands? We were on Majuro Atoll, the main island, a small island in that group. It's the easiest to get to. And how did we travel there? Or how do you get to Majuro? It's usually via Honolulu. It's called the Island Hopper plane from United Airlines, which travels to all those Pacific islands, Marshall Islands, to Majuro first, then later to Kwajalein, to Micronesia, and then to Guam. I think it has 6 or 7 stops, but Majuro is the first stop, so not so long. And then from the main island to our island, only 20-minute, 30-minute boat ride, very fast. So who is the team exactly? First, Philip, who was a team lead, DK6 SP, myself as a co-lead, Tommy HART for the website, and Jamie M0STV. Those 4, we were also in Guyana the year before. And then we had 2 newcomers to the team, Yannick, Delta Kilo 1 Yankee Hotel, the youngest team member. And yeah, obviously you know this guy, 7777, the oldest team member. And FT8, big fan of FT8, yes. So where exactly is the Marshall Islands? You can see there it's somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, a lot of water. It's CQ zone 31, ITU zone 65, IOTA OC 29. The whole Marshall Islands is around 181 square kilometers. It has a total of 24 coral atolls, many islands, more than 1,000 islands, and only 42,000 residents, and half of those live in the Majuro Atoll where we were, and the other half is spread around all other islands, the all atolls. It's UTC plus 12, so the other side of the world, and the currency there is the US dollar, so easy to pay there with the US dollar, no strange currency, luckily. What were the targets? After Guyana, we had something like 70,000 QSOs in Guyana. We said, let's go for 60,000 QS again, so low target, but our dream was to get 100,000 QSOs, which we managed in the end. And we also wanted to do 2,000 QSOs in RTTY for those who don't like FT8 and want a Digi QSO. Yeah, focus was laid on the Club Log Most Wanted ranking, very rare for Europe. Yeah, around top 30 in Europe, and also for the East Coast, quite rare. Obviously JA and West Coast is not so rare, but still managed to work a lot of those. We also wanted the priority on the low bands, especially 160 and 80. We tried hard, but unfortunately conditions were not so great. We managed some 160 QSOs with Europe, also 80, but yeah, very hard. Also, since this is ISTRA Contest Conference, we participated in the contest, ARRLCW as Multi 2, which didn't work out that well. Conditions were not very good first week, and I don't remember actually how many QSOs, but around 6,000 QSOs, I believe. And obviously, Club Log live stream, Club Log the Expedtion charts, and that worked after a couple of days when we had stable internet. And obviously, daily LOTW upload for everyone, so not just for the OQRS people, everyone got an LOTW upload second day after the QSO. Yeah, preparations. After Guyana, in Guyana we had a hex beam and a spider beam, and so mostly horizontal antennas. Now for Victor 7 we wanted to have vertical antennas since we were directly at the sea. So we built 2-element VDAs for 20 to 10. Those are the preparations at our test logistics QDH east of Munich. Spent a lot of weekends there building a lot of stuff. That's also testing for the 160 and for the 80 meter antennas. New antennas as well. This time we only had 2 80 meter spider pole. In Guyana we had a 22 meter spider pole, which was too heavy to get in the plane. It's too long, it's over 2 meters, the 22 meter spider pole transport length. So this time we opted for 2 18 meter spider poles. So new antennas, new matching network for those antennas. Tested that as well. And then off we go. That's closely before we departed in Munich. You see 14 luggage pieces, 6 hand luggages and 6 personal items. So the personal items were radios, the hand luggage was amplifier, and then the luggage was everything else. We had over 800 meters of corks, 6 stations, and 6 flights, 14,000 kilometers. You see it's a lot of stuff. Then funny story, in Munich we went to the boarding, and we were the first one there, luckily, for the United Airlines flight from Munich to Honolulu via San Francisco. And we wanted to check in all the luggage. We haven't paid for most of it so far, so the lady there scans our luggage, takes some time, the whole plane waiting behind us, and then problem with the payment system. No, problem with the payment system, it's not working, Philip can't pay. And then the lady, what now? And then it was also her first day, she was training there, so she got her advisor. She was, what now? The whole plane waiting behind us, and then she said, you get it for free. You don't have to pay anything. So we saved over 1,000 euros on the first day with the luggage. So quite a nice start. Then. The system didn't work, there was quite some luck. And then we got to the customs. They inspected everything on the Munich airport, and then finally on the plane. that's, yeah, after small stop in San Francisco, which was very, very close. We almost missed our connecting flight to Hawaii. It's only 1.5 hours, but we stayed, I don't know, 60 minutes at immigration. Then we had to get all our luggage and then recheck it again, go through security. It was like last second we made it on the flight to Honolulu. And then finally we met also Jamie, the last one of the team, in Honolulu, stayed there overnight in the airport hotel, and then the next day flying from Kilo Hotel 6 to Victor 7. And then in the middle of the flight from Hawaii to Victor 7, it's only ocean, then you see a small island. Maybe some of you know what island that is. Yes, Kilo Hotel 3. Very surprised to see it, no clouds and nice weather. Very nice to see Kilo Hotel 3 there. Brazzo was already planning to get a parachute and jump out of the plane, and new plan. Yeah, new plan. We operate from Kilo Hotel 3. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so we went to our initial plan to go to V7. That's our QDH. We found it on Airbnb. It's a private-owned island, so we could do what we want. We were the only guests there, with some construction workers who built some small resorts there. We had this bungalow to the north where our shack was located, and then what was very good, we had the big 65 kVA generator, so power was no problem. And there on the picture, second one of the right, that's where the shack was located, in the small tent there, and yeah, to the north. Our station layout, you see a lot of stuff. 6 radios, 5 with an amplifier, 1 spare. The spare radio was, or end up usually on 6 meters, monitoring it. A lot of antennas. I will show you on the next slide more closely. We had 2 Expert 1K3 amplifiers, 1 Expert 1K5, 1 ACOM 500S, which was generously sponsored by Acom, which worked very well. Again, we had one in Guyana before, and then Brazzo's Yuma, which worked also very well with the 705 in the combination. Here you can see our antenna layout. So we try to put most of the antennas to the north for best takeoff to Europe with no obstructions in the way. So number 1 is the 160 antenna. When we arrived there, it was not so clear where we put it. So it was right there in the edge, and around where like 7, 8, 9, 10, that's where the shack was located. It doesn't look that far, but it took like almost 10 minutes walking to get to the number 1 antenna to 160, because we had to go through the water every time. It's very sharp stones like coral. You had to be very careful, and it's like around 200 something meters. Waiting for the low tide to go there. Then for 40 meters we had a quarter wave vertical with 3 elevated radials, for 30 meters vertical dipole, and then VDAs for 20 to 10. And also for 10 meters Brazzo built a lightweight 4-element, which was around 7-8 meters high on the deck near the tent. And we compared also 4-element Yagi with 2-element VDA. I will tell you later about that. And then also 4-element Yagi on 6 meters from Brazzo, which ended up 3.5 element. When we packed the Yagi out, 1/2 of the reflector was missing, and then Brazzo found some wires on the island to fix it, and it actually worked. Also the DX Commander vertical, which was one of the first antennas which we put up, it was washed away 3 times, and after the 3rd time we didn't put it up again, so it didn't make so much QSOs. It was just in the wrong spot, and yeah. And then also for 80 meter, the quarter wave vertical there to the west. And then we had also RX antennas for the low bands. We tried a lot of stuff, like a triangle antenna, a beverage across the whole island, and then DHDL as well, but we had some mixed results. Didn't work as we hoped, but we tried, yeah, a lot of stuff. Impressions on the island. So here you can see how the island looked. Way to the right, that's where the 160 vertical was placed. You see, like right in the coral stone, and the difficulty was to how you secure the mast there in the stone. So luckily the host was building some stuff there, some houses there, so we had a lot of construction stuff there. So we found those pipes. Brazzo made some some stuff with the pipes, so it was standing still. So we put the masts into the pipes, guide them, and it worked very well. We had a lot of sandbags with us as well to secure the guide points and also those pipes. So every morning we had to check all antennas, go to the sandbags, rearrange them. So it was always like 1 hour workout in the morning to check everything, and yeah, a lot of work to keep maintaining those antennas. Yet in the middle you can see preparations for the 80 meter vertical. A lot of stuff there on the island which we could use, like chairs and tables. And to the left, that's where Brazzo and Philip were experimenting with the DHDL and the triangle RX antennas. That's like in the middle of the island. There you can see another shot of the tent with the 6 meter 4-element way down, and yeah, that's where most of the antenna preparation was on the deck there. And now, finally, after all antennas were set up, we could operate. You see a small shack there, only 3 tables for 6 radios. The tables held up with all the weight on it, surprisingly. And yeah, most of the time we operated through the whole night for best conditions to Europe. So usually Europe started 3 hours before sunset, 3-4 hours before sunset, and then the whole night until sunrise. And then, yeah, the JA was all the time, 24/7, and the US was, yeah, after sunrise, when Europe closed, the US started. So now some pictures of the VDAs. You see they're directly in the water. So in the middle you can see low tide. So actually high tide and low tide was a big difference. The waves there as well. The waves were a huge problem with the high tide. So also with those pipes we secured the VDA antennas. And yeah, every time in the morning check those guy anchors. To the left you can see Brazzo's lightweight 4-element 410, which was also possible for 12, but we never changed it to 12 meters. It was always on 10. We also took a stack match with us to directly compare the VDA with the 4-element on 10 meters. And most of the times, almost every time, like 99%, the VDA was better than the 4-element. And so next time, only vertical. Yeah, with the water, obviously. If the VDA was not so in the water, things would be way different, obviously. There to the left, you can see the 80 meter vertical on the sand beach there. There was the only like real sand beach we had on the island there, but it looks very nice, but it's not normal sand. it's like coral sand. It's very sharp. After the second day of working there, I had all my feet beat up of this coral sand. It's very sharp and not so nice. We also had those sandbags there, and after, I don't know, 2 or 3 days with the waves coming in and out, the sandbags were 1 or 2 meters deep buried in the sand. And I remember when we dismantled everything, we wanted to get all the sandbags back, and Bratz was like, "Oh, I get this sandbag out." No chance. The sandbag was like 1.5, 2 meters deep. No chance, you don't get it out. In the middle you can see, or middle and the right you can see the 160 antenna. It was a T-vertical, which made the most, I think that was the antenna which made the most trouble. We had some very close calls, but luckily it never fell down, but it was very close to falling down a couple of times with broken guy wires, broken top hats, and very hard to keep it up. Then finally, I think 2 or 3 days, two days before the end, before we departed, 100,000 QSOs in the log. You see one operator is missing, Jamie. He went already 3 days earlier. We had didn't have that much holidays, so he went 1 plane earlier from Marshalls back to the UK. We celebrated the 100,000 QSOs. And then dismantling everything, which took almost like 1 day to dismantle everything, and then leaving Marshall Islands. There to the right you can see in the middle, that's also our host, Sherwood. He had a very nice boat, very fast, like 15-20 minutes to the main island, and then the left is in front of the airport, so you see a very small airport. And we were finished and went to Hawaii. So our stats, we ended up with 103,000 QSOs, more than 50% human modes, which was main goals, obviously. A lot of low bands, 1,500 QSOs, 160, 3,600 QSOs, 80. And what we are most proud of is almost 50% Europe. That's was our main goal, to focus on Europe. Worked out very well. After 2 or 3 days, we had good openings on the high band as well, but 10 was never really that good, but we managed to work a lot of Europe on 10 as well. So that's our team picture that was on the dock in the south of the island. We made again the mistake to make those team pictures at the end of the expedition, so we all look very very beat up and not so fresh anymore. It was probably the worst day with changing all the t-shirts, and then it didn't work out that good. So next the expedition, or for you guys as well, if you go on an expedition, make the team pictures first and then operate. So QSL card, I'm the QSL manager, so I think most of you have a QSL card or they're satisfied with LOTW, but you can request direct bureau via Club Luck or OQRS. And if you want, you can also send me with the direct mail, but preferred is Club Luck. And since we had those daily free LOTW uploads, not so much QSLs were sent out. I think only 1,500 direct QSLs were sent out for the requests. Now we had a lot of supporters for the expedition. Without those, it wouldn't have been possible. You see some familiar logos in there. Ranco, for example, ACOM, and a lot of other supporters. Without them, wouldn't have been possible. So thanks a lot. And also nearly 1,000 individual sponsors we had, which surprised us very much. Tommy made a small program, so everyone got like those thank you certificates when they sponsored. And we made updates throughout the Expedition via email, and after every update you could see like 50, 60, 70 donations were coming in, so that worked very, very well. And yeah, so nearly 1,000 individual sponsors, which is incredible, so thanks a lot for that. And now the question is, where do we go next? And most of you heard it, I think, so the next trip will be to Bangladesh, Sugar 2, in 2026. Same time frame. It will be again so team is not final yet, but Philip will be the team lead and I will be the co-lead. Again, February to March 2026, and yeah, I hope it works out and we have most of you in the log. So thanks a lot. And any questions? So the question was about the nuclear explosions. So the tests from the Americans were like in the northwest near like Bikini Atoll, and that's over 1,500 kilometers from our side. So the locals told us you could never measure any radiation there, but still the most common death there is by cancer, so it's still noticeable, but never any measured radiation there in the air. But through the coconuts, through the fish, and through everything, they notice the radiation as well. Yeah. Any more questions? Yes? The total cost of the expedition. So our budget was, not exactly sure, but it was in the range of $50,000 to $60,000. Yeah, so everything was covered. So at first we had to pay something, but in the end everything was covered by the sponsors. So the whole budget was sponsored. Yeah. Any more questions or finished? Thanks a lot.